Hello. This video on Sheila in An Inspector Calls comes to us from Priya, a really hard-working viewer who says, "Hi, Mr. Salles. I really enjoy watching your videos and find them so helpful. Lots of you do this, so you give me a nice, lovely comment before you ask me to do something for you. That always makes me chuckle, but thank you anyway. Can you please read this essay and tell me the grade I would get?" Yes, I'm going to do that for you. Remember, when I grade it, I'm giving you my subjective opinion, and it's important to remember that this might disagree with your teacher. If you sit down 3 English teachers in a room and get them to read an essay, they would all give it a slightly different mark, and it's the same with examiners. But I'll talk you through my thinking, and it's my thinking rather than the grade itself which should help you. I would really appreciate it if you could do that, because I really want an A grade in my exam. Well, the first thing, if I just scroll down, you'll see what an enormous essay this is. So you have exactly the attitude of a learner who's going to get an A grade. Let's read the essay and find out how you do. Here it is as a Word document, and I've not corrected any of the mistakes in it, just because that would take too much time. But I am going to talk you through your vocabulary and the way you structure your ideas. So how and why does Sheila change in An Inspector Calls? In the play An Inspector Calls, one of the key characters is the role of Sheila Burling. This is quite a sophisticated idea, and so you're suggesting this character isn't just there as a character, but also to fulfill a role. And when you talk about that role, you'll be able to talk about Priestley's purpose, which is what an A-grade essay needs to do. From the beginning of the play, Sheila is presented as a typical rich woman in British society in the 1900s. However, when the inspector arrives and the Burlings learn about the ordeal with Eva Smith, Sheila is one of the key characters, should be who learns the most from the inspector and his views. As the play progresses, Sheila is active in developing, and by the end of the play it's clear she has pushed the social boundaries of women in the 1900s and becomes an embodiment of Priestley's main message in the play. So this is your most important bit of your introduction here, because it's linking Sheila's role to Priestley's purpose. Now, it would be more helpful if you actually spelt out what that purpose was at this stage, but well done anyway. In the play, when Sybil Burling uses the word impertinent to describe Eva Smith, Sheila responds by hysterically laughing and says, perhaps because impertinent is such a silly word. The use of the word impertinent highlights the stupidity of the person using the word. A speaker would be shorter. Therefore, Sheila's response by hysterically laughing implies that Sheila is beginning to realise her mother's stupidity and is trying to ridicule her. Sheila realises that it should be through her mother's use of the word rather than by her mother using. Impertinent. Her mother believes that she is more important and deserves more respect than Eva Smith, who she is calling impertinent. This conveys Priestley's main message that no one in society should be impertinent to anybody else, and nobody should be treated less, you mean as inferior, than anybody else. That sums up that clumsy use of words. So once again, very good in that you've linked the quotation back to Priestley's purpose. As a result, this portrays Priestley's key aim for the play, which is to promote socialist ideas in order to change Britain from a strongly capitalist country to a socialist society. Furthermore, this illustrates Sheila's change in ideology. Correct use of the word ideology, good vocabulary here. As at the beginning of the play, Sheila was using the word impertinent. However, she's now ridiculing her mother for using it because she's able to distinguish between a capitalist and socialist view. So continually coming back to Priestley's purpose makes this a sophisticated essay. You're thinking of what Priestley is trying to achieve in changing the audience's minds. As a result, this is the moment in the play when Sheila stops thinking like a capitalist. This is a very good structural feature you're pointing out, and begins to think like a socialist. So Sheila acts as an embodiment of Priestley's main message and his desire for a socialist society. So this is a very well expressed view here, and you're talking about this being the kind of pivotal point in Sheila's development. That structural analysis does take this into the A grade as well. Sheila begins to adapt to socialist views during the play because she realises the arrogance and selfishness of the capitalist views and those of her parents. Priestley has presented Sheila as one of the key characters to change and take on the inspector's views because he wants to inform the younger generation that they essentially have the power to influence the future, and furthermore wants the younger generation to follow in Sheila's footsteps and to have a desire for a socialist society. That again is very well expressed. You can see how this paragraph has close analysis of a quotation in it. I've paragraphed this for you just to show you that you've got a substantial chunk without a quotation in, and you really want to have a quotation in every idea that you express. Another way that Priestley presents Sheila and her changes is through her changing relationship and attitude towards her parents. At the end of the play, Sheila dramatically begins to mature and take more authority from her parents when her family learn that the inspector wasn't real. Oh, there's a full stop missing there, sorry. When her family learn that the inspector wasn't real, Sheila says to her parents, "You knew it then, you began to learn something, and now you've stopped." What follows this now is going to be an intense analysis of this quotation. And this is at the top of the A grade, that ability to zoom in on individual words makes the examiner think, is this just an A, or are we getting into A star with a really sophisticated interpretation and evaluation, which will always be part of the A star grade no matter what exam board you study. Well, let's see if Priya pulls it off. Priestley uses rhetorical devices when presenting Sheila to highlight her strong desire. Well, the rhetorical device here is the rule of three, or the pattern of three. You need to express that clearly in this idea here. To highlight her strong desire for change and her determination to persuade her parents to change their views and spread the inspector's socialist views. Good. Always coming back to Priestley's purpose is a certain way into the A grade route. For example, the use of the repetition of the personal pronoun you, very good close analysis, demonstrates how Sheila doesn't want to be part of her family. She wants to distance herself from her parents, again, very well expressed idea, and doesn't want to be influenced by their views because she knows they are wrong, and this highlights the contrast between Sheila and her family's attitude. Excellent close analysis, all that about that single word. This is an A star paragraph. Furthermore, the use of the three short sentences summarise Sheila's views towards her parents in a hard-hitting dramatic conclusion which creates a sense of anger and could underline how Sheila is adapting to the inspector's idea and becoming similar to him in the way she speaks and her attitudes. This really close linking between Sheila and the inspector, and hopefully how the inspector carries Priestley's views, is another A star characteristic of the essay. Therefore, along with similar language to the inspector, Sheila uses the word learn, so as she is repeating the inspector's main purpose. There you are, she's done it just as I hoped she would. As a result, Sheila becomes a proxy for the inspector after he leaves. So this is a fully A star paragraph linking one character, Sheila, to the inspector's point of view, and then further linking the inspector's point of view to Priestley's purpose. Absolutely spot on. Priestley has got Sheila to become a proxy of the inspector, very good use of the word proxy, to reflect the power the inspector has and the fact that he has failed at changing the Sybil and Arthur, should just be Sybil and Arthur Burling, could suggest that the capitalists had so much power and dominance in society that it was so hard to change. Furthermore, Sheila's anger towards her parents demonstrates Priestley's anger. Again, that sophisticated link between what's going on with the character, what's going on with Priestley, the author. Priestley's anger towards the capitalists in British society, and wants the audience in 1945 to realise that the capitalists are so powerful that they have even brought Britain into 2 world wars, and tries to persuade the audience that it is time for change. Now, I've interrupted the essay here at 722 words because I don't think most candidates will be able to write more than that in their 45 minutes. I'm going to leap down to your conclusion here and assume that you might be able to add that on to your exam essay. Overall, Sheila makes the most dramatic changes during the play. This is a good conclusion because you're summarising her journey, in contrast to the other characters, because Priestley uses Sheila as his main catalyst for his main messages during the play. Again, this is good because it's linking Sheila to Priestley's purpose. Sheila is the only character, when it's people it's always who seems to be aware of the inspector's power, and she's easily influenced by his attitudes and idea for the future society. Sheila begins as a typical young pretty girl, good integrated quotation. However, she leaves the play as an independent young woman who has adapted to socialist views and strives to make a change for British society by moving away from capitalist society. As an older adult in 1945, Sheila provides the audience with a sense of hope for the future and a hope for a socialist society. That's a really nice way of linking back to Priestley's purpose again, the hope for a social society. What I always want in a conclusion, and what examiners want, is for conclusions to be outward looking. It's really difficult to explain to students what outward looking means, but thank you, Priya, you've given me a way to teach that. It's looking towards the future and what's going to happen after the play. And the final thing I ask for in a quotation, in a conclusion, is a quotation. Try to end with one. The socialist society is easily reflected in the quotation that we're all of one body. And I would recommend you use that quotation, we're all of one body, in any essay on an inspector calls, because this will always be Priestley's purpose. And as you've seen in this helpful essay, whenever you write whatever the question is, you always include Priestley's purpose. Linking it to Priestley's purpose is what will get you into the A. This bit I've added in yellow because I've added it on myself. I just wanted you to see how we could link from an idea that was already there to that final quotation. So I'll just use a comma, which would link the idea of all of one body to this idea of being a socialist society to get yourself a perfect conclusion. That does leave 3 paragraphs that I haven't analysed in this video. So Priya, when you watch this, these 3 paragraphs aren't as skillful as your others. The examiner won't let that count against them, against you. It would be a best fit. Your essay is at least an A grade. What I would say is, when you look at Sheila here, your best analysis is on this idea of her being dehumanized as a creature, and I'd try and write about that in a paragraph only of this length. So just condense your ideas into that length paragraph, and then you've got a really good chance of fitting it into your essay under exam conditions. So once again, thank you very much for giving us this video. If you would like similar help, just post it as a comment against the video so I know where you've been getting the ideas, and hopefully I'll have time to use your essay to help others. If you'd like more videos, don't forget to subscribe, and good luck in the exams. Thank you very much.